The early morning holds a quiet power that most people completely miss, and that single mistake quietly ruins their entire day. Before 7 a.m., before the notifications flood in, before the world starts screaming for your attention, your mind is still fresh, still open, still yours. This is the exact window where you can forge real, unbreakable mental armor. Not with complicated apps, expensive courses, or hour-long routines, but with 7 simple, battle-tested Stoic rules that put you back in complete command of your own thoughts. If you've ever woken up already feeling anxious, weighed down by self-doubt, or trapped in a racing mind you can't seem to slow down, these 7 rules were written for you. They are practical. They are proven by centuries of the wisest minds in history, and they are specifically designed for busy, high-pressure lives right here in the United States, where the demands never seem to stop and the noise never seems to quiet. Stay with me until rule number 7. Because that final rule is what turns this from a nice morning habit into lifelong mental strength. Rule number 1. Name the very first thought that arrives the moment you wake up. Right now, as you lie there in those first fragile seconds of consciousness, your mind does not stay blank. It immediately throws something at you. A heavy worry about the meeting later today, a painful replay of yesterday's awkward conversation, or that quiet, gnawing fear that you're falling behind in life. Most people let that first thought win without even realizing it. They roll over, grab their phone, react to it, and suddenly the entire day feels heavier, darker, and out of control. They become slaves to whatever their mind handed them the second their eyes opened. The Stoics refused to live like this. They knew the mind is strongest when it sees itself clearly from the very first moment. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled the mightiest empire on earth while facing wars, plagues, and endless betrayals, made it his daily practice to observe his own thinking before the day could pull him under. He understood a profound truth. The first thought is not the truth. It is simply the opening move in a game. And you get to decide how the rest of the game is played. Here is exactly how you apply this rule tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. Wake up naturally or with a gentle alarm. The instant you become aware that you are awake, do not move. Do not reach for your phone. Do not even open your eyes fully if you don't have to. Stay right there in bed and silently name the thought that just appeared. Speak it clearly inside your mind with plain, honest words. This is the thought of financial pressure. This is doubt about my recent decision. This is the urge to rush and escape. Naming the thought does not judge it. It simply identifies it. That single act creates a small but powerful space between you and the thought. You stop being the thought, and you become the one who sees it clearly. That space? That is the very first layer of your unbreakable mental armor. This rule works because it stops the automatic slide into chaos. When you name the thought early, you interrupt the dangerous pattern that turns one negative idea into a chain of heavier, darker ones. You reclaim the power to choose the next direction instead of blindly following whatever your mind dumped on you. Over time, this single morning habit trains your brain to expect real leadership from you the moment the day begins. People all across the country who have adopted this practice report the same powerful shifts. Mornings feel noticeably lighter, decisions come with greater clarity, and that constant background noise in the head starts to quiet down much faster than before. You do not need to be perfect at this. Some mornings the first thought will hit like a freight train. Name it anyway. That is the practice. That is exactly how armor is built. One honest, courageous observation at a time. Rule number 1 is your unshakable foundation. Master this, and every single rule that follows will become 10 times more powerful. Tomorrow morning, before 7 a.m., give this your full attention. Notice what changes when you finally take control from the very first moment of consciousness. Rule number 2. Create a deliberate pause before any action. Most people wake up and immediately feed their mind with frantic movement. They reach for the phone, start mentally planning the chaos of the day, or jump straight into the first task. That unconscious rush hands complete control over to whatever thoughts arrived first. The Stoics taught a radically different path. They understood that a racing mind desperately needs space to settle before it can be properly directed. A short intentional pause right after naming that first thought gives your awareness the time it needs to catch up and take command. Try this tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. After you have quietly named the opening thought, remain perfectly still for a full 60 seconds. No phone, no getting out of bed, no planning. Simply breathe and count slowly in your mind from 10 down to 1. Let each number fill one complete breath. 10, 9, 8. Feel your body resting exactly where it is. Notice the temperature of the air against your skin. Hear whatever sounds are actually present around you right now. This pause is not empty or wasted time. It is active, deliberate training. It teaches your mind that you are the one who decides when the day truly begins, not the first worry, not the first urge, not the first distraction. Epictetus, the former slave who rose to become one of the clearest and most powerful voices in Stoic philosophy, reminded us again and again that real freedom begins with the ability to create space between stimulus and response. In the pressure-filled mornings that so many Americans face, with work deadlines, family responsibilities, and endless notifications, that space is pure, concentrated power. When you pause deliberately, the initial thought loses its automatic grip on you. You stop reacting like a puppet and start responding like a leader. Your nervous system begins to calm because it receives a clear signal. Nothing urgent is actually happening yet. This calm becomes the second powerful layer of your mental armor. It protects you from dragging yesterday's tension or tomorrow's imagined disasters into today. You will notice something interesting during this pause. The mind will often try to fill the quiet with more thoughts. That is completely normal. When it does, simply name the new thought gently and return to your countdown. Do not fight the thoughts. Do not argue with them. Just observe and gently return. Each time you do this, you strengthen the muscle of attention. Over weeks, this morning pause becomes easier, more natural, and more profound. Many who practice it report that their entire day feels more organized, less scattered, and far more under their control. They make better choices at work, communicate more clearly with family, and handle setbacks with a steadiness that surprises even them. This rule is especially valuable in today's hyper-fast world, where constant information and demands pull your attention in 1,000 directions at once. By claiming just 60 seconds of sovereignty before 7 a.m., you set a tone of quiet inner strength that carries through every meeting, every deadline, and every conversation. Rule number 2 builds directly on the first. Naming gives you clarity. The pause gives you power. Together they create the perfect conditions for real, lasting mental discipline. Tomorrow morning, after naming the first thought, give yourself this deliberate pause. Count slowly. Breathe naturally. Feel the profound difference it makes when you consciously choose stillness instead of rushing into the day. This small but mighty act, repeated daily, transforms scattered, anxious mornings into focused, powerful beginnings, and adds another strong piece to your growing mental armor. Rule number 3. Anchor yourself to the physical sensations of the present moment. After naming the first thought and creating that deliberate pause, the next critical step is to bring your full attention back to where your body actually is right now. The mind loves to travel. It jumps ahead to future meetings, looming deadlines, or problems that haven't even happened yet. When it does this before 7 a.m., it steals precious energy from the only moment you can truly control. This one. The Stoics repeatedly taught that real peace and clarity exist only in the present. Everything else is either memory or imagination, and neither deserves to rule your morning. Here is exactly how to practice this rule tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. Once your 60-second pause ends, gently shift your attention to 5 simple physical anchors, one by one. First, feel the full weight of your body resting on the bed. Notice the exact pressure points where you make contact with the surface beneath you. Second, pay close attention to the temperature of the air touching your skin. Is it cool, warm, or perfectly neutral? Third, notice the natural rhythm of your breathing without trying to change it. Feel the air moving in through your nose and the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Fourth, become aware of any sounds actually present in your room right now: distant traffic, the hum of the air conditioner, birds outside, or even pure silence. Fifth, gently move your fingers or toes and fully feel the sensation of movement in your body. This is not complicated meditation with special rules or postures. It is a quick, practical, no-nonsense return to reality. Each anchor pulls your awareness out of anxious future tripping and plants it firmly in the only time that truly exists, right now. Seneca often reminded his readers that the present moment is the only thing we truly own. In modern American life, where mornings can feel rushed, pressured, and overwhelming, this rule acts like a powerful reset button for your entire nervous system. It reminds your body and mind that you are safe in this exact moment. No disaster is actually happening here. Your body already knows this truth, even when your thoughts try to convince you otherwise. You will likely notice your mind trying to wander again during this practice. That is expected and completely normal. The moment you catch it drifting, gently name the new thought and return to one of the physical anchors. This gentle back and forth is the actual training ground. Each return strengthens your ability to choose where your attention goes. Over time, this simple morning habit dramatically reduces the automatic pull toward worry and builds a steady, reliable inner calm that lasts long past 7 a.m. People who consistently use this rule report starting their workday with sharper focus, greater emotional stability, and far less reactivity when challenges inevitably appear. Rule number 3 strengthens the first 2 rules beautifully. Naming creates awareness. The pause creates space. Anchoring to the body creates real stability. Together they form a solid, unshakable base that makes the rest of your morning and your entire day far more effective and resilient. You begin to experience life from a place of grounded strength rather than scattered, reactive thinking. Tomorrow morning, before 7 a.m., after your pause, spend 2 to 3 minutes moving through these 5 physical anchors. Feel each one fully and deeply. Let the present moment become vividly real to you again. This simple act adds a deep protective layer of mental armor because it trains you to live where life actually happens, not in the imaginary places where your thoughts like to wander and create problems. Rule number 4. Replace the automatic question with a better one. By now, after naming the first thought, creating the pause, and anchoring to the body, your mind has begun to settle into a calmer state. Yet even here, the mind often starts asking questions. Most of these questions point in only one destructive direction, toward problems, failure, and everything that could possibly go wrong. What if today goes badly? What if I'm not ready? What if I mess this up again? These questions feel automatic, but they are not neutral. They act like a compass for your mind, and your powerful brain obediently starts searching for evidence in that fearful direction. The Stoics understood the directional power of questions better than anyone, and they used it with great wisdom. Apply this rule tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. Once you feel grounded in the present moment, notice the automatic question your mind is asking. Then consciously replace it with a more balanced, useful, and empowering one. Instead of "what if this goes wrong?" ask, "what small step can I take today that moves me forward?" Instead of "what if I'm not enough?" ask, "what strength have I shown before that I can call upon again?" These replacement questions are not fake positivity or denial. They are honest, practical, and deeply Stoic. They acknowledge that challenges exist while deliberately pointing your mind toward solutions, capabilities, and progress. Epictetus taught that we are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the views we take of them. In today's high-pressure American mornings, where work, family, and personal goals all compete fiercely for your limited energy, the questions you ask yourself literally shape the quality of your entire day. When you replace the fear-based question early, you change the entire search pattern of your mind. Your brain begins scanning for evidence of progress, resilience, and opportunity, instead of only threats. This shift does not deny reality. It simply opens the other side of the ledger that anxiety usually ignores completely. During this practice, be gentle and patient with yourself. If the old fear-based question returns, name it again without judgment and calmly return to the better question. Repeat the new question slowly a few times while still staying connected to the physical anchors from the previous rule. This powerful combination keeps you rooted in the present while redirecting your thinking toward what actually serves you. Many people who adopt this habit notice that after just a few weeks, their default inner dialogue becomes noticeably more constructive. They walk into meetings with clearer heads, handle setbacks with greater patience, and feel significantly less drained by the end of the day. Rule number 4 builds naturally and powerfully on the first 3. Naming reveals the thought. The pause creates space. Anchoring grounds you. Replacing the question gives purposeful direction. Together, they transform a potentially anxious and scattered morning into a focused, empowered, and intentional beginning. You start training your mind to serve you instead of running ahead with worst-case stories that steal your peace. Tomorrow morning, before 7 a.m., after anchoring to the body, identify the automatic question and deliberately replace it with one that serves your goals and values. Ask it with intention. Let your mind begin searching in a far more useful and life-giving direction. This single change adds tremendous strength to your mental armor. It proves to you that you are not at the mercy of whatever thought arrives first. You have the power to choose the questions that shape your day, and that power grows stronger every single time you use it before 7 a.m. Rule number 5. Notice and accept the natural slowing without forcing it. As you move through the earlier rules, something important and beautiful begins to happen. The racing thoughts that usually dominate early mornings start to lose some of their frantic speed. The heavy emotional weight begins to soften around the edges. Many people misread this natural slowing as a problem or as some kind of weakness creeping back in. In reality, it is clear evidence that your mind is finally responding to the calm, steady leadership you are providing. The Stoics recognize that true inner strength often appears quietly, not in dramatic battles or sudden breakthroughs, but in these steady, gradual shifts that compound over time. Practice this rule tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. After replacing the automatic question, simply observe what is happening inside your thinking. Notice when the pace of thoughts begins to ease. Do not try to force it to happen faster. Do not judge the quieter state as suspicious or temporary. Instead, acknowledge it calmly and honestly. The thoughts are slowing. This is real progress. Let your breath follow its natural rhythm. Allow the exhale to become slightly longer than the inhale, without any strain or effort. This gentle extension of the out-breath sends a quiet but powerful signal through your entire body that the morning emergency is not actually happening. Marcus Aurelius, who faced constant overwhelming pressure while ruling a vast empire, often returned to the fundamental truth that we have power over our own mind, not over external events. In the busy, demanding mornings that so many Americans experience, this rule gently reminds you that the slowing is not surrender. It is the direct, beautiful result of the previous steps working together in harmony. You have named the thought, created space, returned to the body, and redirected the question. Your nervous system is now receiving consistent, trustworthy messages that it can safely stand down from high alert. This natural calming becomes the fifth essential layer of your mental armor. It restores clarity and prevents small worries from growing into massive storms later in the day. If the mind tries to restart the old chaotic pattern during this stage, do not fight it or get frustrated. Simply name the returning thought, return to one physical anchor, and gently ask the better question again. Each time you do this, the return becomes smoother and more automatic. Over time, the gap between noticing the slowing and feeling truly steady grows shorter and shorter. People who practice this rule consistently report starting their workday with greater patience, fewer reactive decisions, and a deeper sense of composure. They handle traffic, difficult conversations, and unexpected changes with far more grace because their morning foundation is now solid and reliable. Rule number 5 connects everything that came before it. It teaches you to recognize, trust, and celebrate the real progress your own efforts are creating. Instead of desperately chasing some perfect, permanent calm that never actually arrives, you learn to value the quiet, genuine improvement that lasts. This acceptance builds deep confidence in your ability to guide your own mind through anything. Tomorrow morning, before 7 a.m., once the thoughts begin to ease, pause and notice it, without forcing anything extra. Accept the slowing as clear proof that your mental armor is growing stronger. Let your breath support the process naturally. This step deepens the calm you've built and prepares you for the final rules with a clearer, more resilient mind. The result is a morning that no longer feels like a battlefield, but like a deliberate, steady, and empowering preparation for whatever the day may bring. Rule number 6. Affirm the present reality with simple, grounding statements. With the thoughts slowing and clarity beginning to return, the next step is to reinforce what is actually true right now. The mind has a dangerous habit of treating imagined futures as if they are happening in this very moment. This creates unnecessary tension and suffering even when your body is perfectly safe and comfortable. The Stoics emphasized returning again and again to the plain facts of the present, because that is where real power, peace, and freedom actually reside. Here is how you apply rule number 6 tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. After noticing the natural slowing, speak 3 short, honest, grounding statements quietly to yourself or silently in your mind. First, this moment is real and safe. Second, my body is here right now. Third, I am choosing where my attention goes. Say each one slowly and deliberately, letting the meaning sink in. Connect each statement to one of the physical anchors you used earlier. Feel your weight on the bed while saying the first. Notice your breathing while saying the second. Feel the stillness in the room while saying the third. These statements are not magical affirmations designed to erase every challenge in your life. They are clear, honest reminders that separate what is actually happening from what your mind is anxiously projecting into the future. In the fast-paced mornings that so many people face across the United States, this practice cuts through the mental noise and returns you to the only time you can truly influence, right now. It strengthens the crucial boundary between you and any lingering worry. You remain the calm observer rather than becoming lost inside the thought. Seneca often wrote about the vital importance of living fully in the time that truly belongs to us, which is only the present moment. When you use these grounding statements early in the morning, you train your mind to treat the present as the main event of your life, instead of merely a waiting room for future problems. Many who follow this rule notice that their energy feels steadier and more sustainable throughout the entire day. They waste far less mental effort on things that have not happened and focus more effectively on the actions that are actually available to them right now. If other thoughts arise while you are using these statements, name them gently and return to the next statement. This is the practice. Consistency matters far more than perfection. Over weeks, these simple affirmations become more automatic and help maintain the calm and clarity you have built with the earlier rules. They add a reliable, protective layer of mental armor that safeguards your focus when the real demands of work, family, and daily responsibilities begin to press in. Rule number 6 brings the first 5 rules into a clear, lived, embodied experience. Naming, pausing, anchoring, redirecting, and accepting the slowing all lead naturally to this moment of honest acknowledgement. You are not denying the difficulties that may come. You are simply refusing to live them before they actually arrive. This creates precious space for thoughtful, purposeful action instead of exhausted, reactive thinking. Tomorrow morning, before 7 a.m., after the thoughts have begun to slow, use these 3 grounding statements while staying deeply connected to your body. Let them powerfully remind you of what is real and what is truly yours to control. This step solidifies the mental strength you are building and prepares you for the final rule with a steady, clear, and resilient mind. The quiet power you will feel afterward is the direct result of choosing presence over projection, one deliberate morning at a time. Rule number 7. Commit to beginning again each new morning without judgment. Even with consistent practice of the first 6 rules, some mornings the mind will still show up with its full weight and intensity. Thoughts may arrive faster, feel heavier, or hit harder than usual. This is not a sign that the practice has failed or that you lack discipline. It is simply the nature of a living, human mind meeting the uncertainties and pressures of real life. The Stoics understood this truth deeply and built their entire philosophy around the humble, powerful willingness to return to the work again and again, without self-criticism. Apply rule number 7 tomorrow morning before 7 a.m. by treating each new day as its own completely fresh opportunity. If the thoughts feel strong or overwhelming when you wake, simply begin the full sequence once more, Name the first thought. Create the pause. Anchor to the body. Replace the question. Notice any slowing, and ground yourself with the simple statements. Do this without carrying any disappointment or judgment from previous mornings. Each dawn stands complete on its own. There is no running scoreboard tracking how many times your mind wandered. There is only the choice available to you right now to guide your mind again with patience and strength. This commitment to beginning again develops the deepest and most important layer of mental armor. It builds a quiet, unbreakable resilience that does not depend on perfect conditions or perfect mornings. In the demanding reality that so many Americans navigate, where work pressures, family responsibilities, financial concerns, and personal goals constantly compete, this seventh rule ensures that your practice remains sustainable for years to come. You learn to meet each morning with genuine patience toward yourself. Over months of consistent effort, the distance between disturbance and steady presence grows noticeably shorter. What once took 20 minutes of effort may now settle in 5. What once felt completely overwhelming becomes manageable and even familiar because you have practiced returning to center many, many times before. Marcus Aurelius returned to these same principles every single day, not because they stopped working, but because even the most trained mind still requires regular, honest attention. Your practice is no different. Each time you choose to begin again before 7 a.m., you strengthen the habit of true self-leadership. You train yourself to respond to life with clarity and steadiness instead of being helplessly carried away by the first wave of thought. This consistency compounds quietly but powerfully. It shows up in better decisions at work, calmer and more loving interactions at home, and a growing sense of inner steadiness that other people eventually begin to notice and respect. The 7 rules together form a complete, practical morning system for building unbreakable mental armor. They do not promise a life without challenges or difficult thoughts. That would be foolish and unrealistic. Instead, they offer something far more valuable and lasting: the ability to meet every challenge from a place of grounded strength, clarity, and inner command, rather than scattered reaction and exhaustion. Start small if you need to. Even applying just 1 or 2 of these rules consistently will create meaningful, noticeable change in your life. As the weeks and months pass, gradually add the others until the full sequence becomes your natural, automatic way of beginning each day. The real power of this practice does not reveal itself in perfect, flawless mornings. It reveals itself in the reliable, almost automatic way you return to calm and focus whenever your mind inevitably drifts. That reliability, that quiet return, is what ultimately builds mental armor strong enough to support a truly purposeful, resilient, and meaningful life. If these ideas have brought you more clarity, calm, or control in your mornings, consider making this channel's Stoic origin a regular part of your daily Stoic practice. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us as we continue to explore practical, battle-tested wisdom that strengthens the mind and supports a life of real purpose and unbreakable resilience. Your consistent growth matters, and we are genuinely here to walk that path alongside you, one deliberate morning at a time.